to the cloud.
All
And
right.
let's do it.
All right, we're live. So first, welcome everybody to this 9x Live workshop. And today we're going to learn how to work smarter with Gemini inside your Google Workspace. So I think Jan has been spending a couple of the past days or weeks diving into the depth of Gemini and how to use it inside the Google Suite. I think, very, very useful thing to know, especially as Gemini is running out access to most of the Google business and enterprise users. So if you are part of the millions of people who now have access to these, it could be very useful to see what we can do with that.
If anyone was wondering, normally I would also cover that part, but I'm a little bit sick today, so I needed Piv's enthusiasm to get that out. So thanks a lot, Piv. Let me take over and share the screen. 1 second. And in case anyone's wondering, hang on, I need to decline this, continue. And can you all let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Awesome. Nice. In case you're wondering with the chat, it might look like Piv was sending the messages. It was me. We just mistakenly somehow logged into Zoom with the same account. But on the chat, feel free while I am going into this next part of into the main part of the workshop. Any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the chat. Piv for the first part, and then Ruja from the 9x team will also be logging in and can interrupt me. I'll also try and keep an eye on the chat, but it's a little bit difficult sometimes when presenting. So yeah, welcome everyone to this workshop on Google Gemini. The reason why this came about, so as Piv already mentioned a little bit, and most of you probably know that at the start of the year, Google made the decision to give free access to most of their business users to Google Gemini. And since you might be one of the millions of professionals that now have access to this, we thought this workshop might provide you with some value. Before I go into what we're going to cover and the topics, I just want to talk a little bit about the why. I think talk a little bit about what's behind this move from Google, which I think is quite interesting just to get an understanding of the landscape. So in terms of the latest numbers, this was a Gemini search result. So let's see how accurate it is. But in terms of the latest numbers, it looks like Gemini has about 42 million monthly users, which could be seen like that's a very, very big number. When you compare it to, obviously, ChatGPT, it is slightly dwarfed in size with 400 million monthly users using ChatGPT. And that's probably number is even more than that this month with everyone creating their own AI art versions of themselves with or without copyright. Let's see where you stand on that one. But this is obviously a big challenge for Google. And they also have a massive opportunity in their product suite because obviously they are running Google Workspace, which has over 3 billion users worldwide using the Google Workspace suite. So I think there is a massive, let's say, justification and a massive push from Google for making this product better, and especially seeing how they can integrate it as much as possible inside the Google Workspace, inside the tools that we use each and every day. So in terms of what we want to cover with today's sessions, I want you to walk away with 3 things. First of all, I want to show you what's possible today with Google Gemini's AI suite. Next up, I want you to discover some concrete examples of how you can use Gemini to improve the way you work. And finally, understand the limitations of Google Gemini. And we can maybe talk a little bit in the Q&A at the end about how it compares to ChatGPT. So first of all, where can you use Gemini? Before we jump in, there's basically 4 main areas within the whole Google suite where you can actually use Gemini. So first of all, as was also mentioned in the description of this event, inside the Google Workspace, these are the apps we use each and every day: Gmail, Google Sheets, Google Drive, Google Docs. There's obviously also the dedicated Gemini app, which is the competitor to ChatGPT, where you'll be going to have your chat interactions with the Gemini model. Then there's also Notebook LM, and I'm going to go in the second half or the last part of this workshop, go through one live use case of how we can actually combine Gemini app and Notebook LM for a researching workflow. But then there's also the Google AI Studio. So this is also made available to this. The thing is, on the Google AI Studio, it may be that if you're working at a larger company, basically your Google admin can determine what you do and do not have access to. So in some companies, we are seeing that they're basically giving access to these first 3, but maybe restricting access to the Google AI Studio. So for this workshop, I'm mainly going to be focused on the first one on within the Google Workspace itself. I do want to touch very quickly on the Gemini app and Notebook LM at the end, but majority of it's going to be focused on how we can get the most out of Gemini within the Google tools. And I guess we might have to leave the Google AI Studio for another live session, Piv. Maybe we can do a dedicated hour just on that one. So that was it
Awesome.
for the introduction. If we go now to part one on understanding Gemini in Google Workspace. So the power of AI has come into some of your favorite Google apps, and we're going to be looking at each of these today. We've got Google Drive, Gemini inside Gmail, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and also Calendar. When it comes to Google Calendar, especially if you are using that for your meetings, I would highly recommend you turning on the Gemini features for recording your meeting and also creating the transcripts and follow-up meeting notes. Obviously, it's not something I can really demo in this session, so we're just going to go into the first 5. So let's first take a look, if I can click to the next slide, at Gemini inside Google Drive. So I'll swap over to my other screen here, and I'll just head over to my Google Drive. So first of all, whenever you are in any of your like Google products, in this case, Google Drive, you'll start noticing, and let me actually just refresh this page, you'll start noticing Gemini appear in different places. So Google's really trying to embed Gemini. The one that I'm going to use a lot in this workshop is in the top right here, you can click Ask Gemini, and you see this side panel appearing. So this is a side panel that will be in Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Suite, we'll see it. And one thing I would always implore you to do, maybe every now and then, that it's always starting here with what can Gemini do inside Google Drive. So let me just click this one. And the reason why I think this is useful is probably some of the stuff that I'm going to demo today, there's going to be even more impressive things available in 2 or 3 weeks' time, because that's just how fast this is moving. So if you always want to stay up to date, I wouldn't be surprised if Google keep this prompt there for a long time. So even as you use this more and more, definitely make sure you're always checking back and seeing what is possible. So here, if we have a look with Gemini in Google Drive, and let me try and zoom in a little bit here, you can summarize long documents, discuss a topic that requires synthesizing information from one or more files. We'll see a little bit what that means, retrieve quick facts about a project, and even create new Google files and folders. So one very good use case I've found already, and I'm not sure if many of you have faced this problem yourselves, but sometimes if you're working on a specific document or a Google Sheet and you know what you've created, you know what's inside the Google Doc, but you basically can't find it inside your Google Drive, or you can't remember the name. So one very good prompt here that you can use is, can you find the file? Or like I can even say, since I know it's a Google Doc, where I planned out my Gemini workshop. And where this is impressive is as Gemini is now searching, what it's doing, it's not simply like when you search in Drive typically via the name, it is searching based on the name of files. Now with Gemini and the fact that, as it mentioned here, you can basically discuss a topic that requires synthesizing information from one or more files. It actually understands, it has the ability to look inside those files and read their contents. So in this case here, I'll see that it's returned me a few different files that might be around the topic of a Gemini workshop. And I see the first one here, untitled document. And then I can easily just click on that. And there it is. This was the document that I was basically looking for. I was able to find. And now I can just quickly make sure that I'm adding the correct title to my document and saving it. So that way I can always be sure. And another use case we've found of this, and obviously it's not something I could demo now, is really try and ask questions about your data. Piv and I were recently asking for, we needed to remember the birthday of a certain employee, and we could actually just type in Google Drive, what is person's birthday? And because that information is in their employment contract, which is inside our Google Drive, basically Gemini was smart enough to say, hey, employee's birthday is on this date, and always it will link you to the sources of those files. So here you can see that it does the search and then links you directly to the sources of the files. Now, one next demonstration, and let me just go over and move on to my notes. So we've covered there the knowledge retrieval. So when another use case within Google Drive is when we're in a specific folder. So let me just open up, and I need to go back and find the folder. Let me find it here. So here is a folder which basically just contains some 3 different meeting transcripts that we might have had with a client. This is actually using some mock data that I generated for this demonstration. Let me actually just refresh the page. And while I do that, one very important point to mention is when we open up this little side assistant, whenever you close, it's not like in ChatGPT, because sometimes you can find yourself having really valuable conversations with this side assistant. So let me say, for instance, if I want to summarize this folder, I can just hit that, and it's going to basically look at all the documents inside the folder and give me a summary. And in this case, this is obviously some meeting transcripts about a sales process that's been happening. So he can see the Zapnova client folder contains transcripts of 3 meetings between AI Masters and Zapnova, focus on Zapnova's interest in AI training, and gives you a little bit of a summary. If you're ever generating some content, because here you can then basically prompt Gemini, just like you can prompt ChatGPT or Gemini, the app, be sure to remember that when you basically close this, there's no area where you can actually go back and find those chats again. And the same thing is whenever I'm refreshing my page here, that chat is going to disappear and start again. So it's really like a side assistant helper. It's not an area where you can work back and forth and have those chats saved. It's really just helping you in the moment. So a couple of other prompts we could give here. So I might ask something like, can you give me a 2-line overview of the deal based on the meetings in this folder? Okay, so here it says, and this is where we can already see Gemini starting to hallucinate a little bit. No relevant emails or documents were retrieved, so I cannot provide an overview of any deals based on meetings. And we do need to be a little bit persistent. So let me, first of all, I would recommend, I'm just going to hit retry. And let's see what happens. Okay, and in some cases, when this really goes pear-shaped, let me try and refresh and start this again. So I'm going to ask first Gemini to summarize this folder. Okay, so now it's already a bit better on the right track. So it says the Zapnova client folder contains transcripts. Okay, so let me try that same prompt again. Whoops. Let me grab it from here. Can you give me a 2-line overview of the deal based on the meetings in this folder? So let's see. Okay, so now it was able to do that a little bit better, which is good. So AI Masters is proposed AI training. A potential deal hinges on resolving integration issues. One thing I would always recommend whenever you are leveraging Gemini inside Google Docs is always, sorry, inside Google Drive is always make sure you're checking which sources they reference. Because also, as you jump between different folders and different files, even if you're keeping the same conversation going, it might tend to hallucinate, think of the current folder that you're in. So whenever it gives you an answer, the one thing to check is how is it actually based that answer off. And we can see in this case that it hasn't actually referenced any sources. It's probably purely referenced it based on the answer that it previously gave. Yeah. And another way is if you want to basically tag a specific file, you could say like let me make sure I'm typing, what were the highlights of, and then when I do the @ symbol, I can basically then reference specific topics. So here, if I'm going meeting transcript 3, and then I'm referencing that specific document, basically it should improve the answer and give an answer just based on that document. So if you always want to be sure, typically it's got quite a good knowledge of where it currently is in the context of when you say this folder, it will use the folder you're currently on, but always make sure you're checking the sources. Any questions on that so far? No, perfect. All right, so then we'll move on. Now, that was Google Drive, we'll quickly head over now to Gemini in Gmail, and let's take a look. So if I'll switch tabs here and we can open up Gmail. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up an email that I am already in. I don't know if this also happens to people. Hang on, let me just add some more people in. Maybe, Piv, if you can keep an eye on the waiting room as well, or if Faruja can. So if you're like me, sometimes you get brought into some very long emails that are maybe 30 email change back and forth, and then a colleague loops you in and says, Jan, what do you think? And you're like, okay, great. Now I have to go and read back all of these 30 emails. This is another very powerful use case for Gemini directly within Gmail. And what you'll notice is whenever you open up the Ask Gemini Assistant, you don't even need to tell it to do it. Whenever you're at any email and you open up the Gemini Assistant, it will already give you a summary. So it will say, live AI agent session is about Jan inviting Jacob Bank. So this was the email chat I was having with the co-founder of Relay.app when we were planning last week's 9x live session where he joined us. And it's basically able to give a one-click summary. We can also give some prompts like, what are the next steps needed from me? And you'll see that I need to basically share the edited recording with Jacob. One other thing I want to point out here is what you'll notice is sometimes, apart from just the right-hand side of using the Gemini side panel, you'll also notice sometimes Gemini suggesting some actions. And this is really always depends on the context you're currently in, and Google are trying to add more of these actions. So here in the discussion with Jacob, at one point, I guess I must have agreed a date, and we can see that here that the date was agreed of March 27th. And this then means Gemini is basically giving us some extra actions. So I can click add to calendar. Now, in this case, it's probably should be also smart enough to realize that actually March 27th was last week. But in the case of its training currently, it just says, hey, if we realize in the email thread that there's a date for a certain event agreed, it will give you, for instance, this one-click action where I can just click add to calendar. And now Gemini gets to work in my side panel. And because it's fully integrated, you now see it's actually created a new calendar in my calendar, so the live AI agent session, and I can just open this one up in one click. Now, again, this is like very, like quite limited early days of this product. I would love if they could already, based on the context of the email, even invite Jacob or prompt me, do you want to invite Jacob to this event? Maybe even have a Google Meet link, but at least first steps, you can see sort of the directions that Google are going with this one. Now, probably the most powerful use case for Gemini inside Gmail, and it really is about changing the way your mindset a little bit, is what I would always recommend is from now on, when you're writing emails, try and get in the habit of prompting emails rather than writing emails yourself. So here you'll notice as soon as I open up an email response, I can either click this little help me write button here, they've given a shortcut, or I can click this little help me write and you'll notice the little Gemini diamond. So this is again leveraging Gemini directly inside Gmail. And I can just do a very quick one sentence, which is not ever something I would actually write directly in an email. So I was saying I'll be uploading the recording to YouTube tomorrow and hit create. And now don't worry that this doesn't immediately send the email. All this is doing is generating an AI draft. And you see it adds a couple of touches. So first of all, the name, just wanted to let you know that I'll be updating the recording to YouTube tomorrow. So nothing spectacular, also because maybe my prompt was very basic. But now we have some, before we just insert this, we have some other options. So down the bottom here, I can choose to whether I want to formalize. I can even shorten this. I think this one's probably short enough, but we can always use the elaborate feature. In this case, let's see what it comes up with. So now, hey, Jacob, just wanted to let you know I'll be updating the recording of the agent session tomorrow. I'll send you the link once it's up so you can check it out and share with your audience as well. So this is already, it's pretty a lot better. The fact that I actually would realize that maybe I would want to share a link to it. The fact about it's mentioning that it's sharing with your audience. This is something that we discussed previously in that email chain. So when it's coming up with these replies, it's also using the context of all of those emails that we said, hey, we're going to collaborate on this workshop. Afterwards, we'll invite both of our audiences to attend. And so then it was smart enough to use that inside of its prompting. Yeah. So this is something then whenever we are happy with it, we can simply hit insert and fire the email off. Yeah. One last demonstration when it comes to emails. And here, I think this is a very good use case for when we're getting those cold outbound emails that maybe we aren't so interested in. Again, I've just opened up on this email. I'll see here my Gemini one-click summary that Olivia is proposing to help me secure 30+ clients with 80+ qualified calls in 29 days with no risk. Sounds too good to be true, so I'm not so keen on this one. Now, when I again reply here, you'll notice we're getting some direct options now. Because of the context of this email, not just Gemini saying, hey, help me write a response. It's basically saying, hey, from this, maybe Jan wants to give 3 options. I can show interest and request info. I can decline politely, giving clear intent, or I can postpone and maintain contact. Means I'm not interested right now, but maybe let's check in 4 months. So when I simply click decline politely, then I've got just this very direct, hi, Olivia, no thanks. I'm not looking for assistance at this time. And I can easily send this off. I could, of course, then use Gemini to help me write and elaborate on this one, to polish it, and leveraging it to basically just be quicker with how I can reply to emails. Perfect. Is anyone already using this feature? Are there any questions on what else can be done with Gemini inside Gmail? No
Some
questions?
people have difficulty enabling that option. I don't know if it's do you know how to did you have to do anything on your side, or was it just done at the admin level, Jan?
I believe we enabled it from an admin level. I'm not sure then if I can't remember if the first time I maybe reloaded Gmail that it basically said enable smart features. We can have a quick look inside the settings and let's have a look. Discard suggestion and labels inbox.
Maybe, yeah, maybe on the advanced side of things, or
Have a look at Gemini. Or no, so it's not searching the
here.
setting.
Yeah.
You shared a link or?
No.
So here the
Then we have
smart size, I guess that's smart features potentially. Could be,
yeah.
that one. And then with the Google side, there is two levels to this. There's always, especially if you're working in a company, there's whatever your admin sets up, and then there's sometimes some settings that you have as well.
We have Core who's sharing also that he found that the quality of the copy generated was really bad. We've tried better prompting with no luck. You need to have a paid for Workspace account. Yeah, possibly you need to have Google AI Premium subscription or Google Workspace for this. Very good question. Is there some global level context that you can set? Core is asking.
So this is something that we've played around with, but we haven't seen yet. So it's something that we're really hoping will come soon. It's also something I touch on at the end about like where ChatGPT is drastically ahead of Gemini at the moment. But we see it's going to be natural that Google goes in this way because it has context of everything you need. And so it's crazy that they haven't offered that one yet. So that's something we're also hopeful for. So just for everyone else, what that basically means is what would be great for instance, in my Gemini space, that I could train Gemini a little bit about how I like to reply, right? Like what words I like using, that I like writing in UK English instead of American English, and all of this to be able to always get better responses. That's something that Gemini isn't so advanced at yet. If you're used to ChatGPT, sometimes you might see some things like ChatGPT saying updating memory. If you tell ChatGPT saying, hey, from now on, I want you to remember to always use UK English, it will basically update its settings and from now on use that everywhere. So that's something that I think Gemini could make some big improvements in that area. Perfect. So that was it for Gmail. Let's now go take a look at Google Docs. And the first example that I want to give here is really getting away over this thing of like the blank page. And this is something I think where Gemini are going really, really heavily in, that you'll notice that as soon as I open a new Google Doc, of course, I can open up the side panel, but here straight away, I can see generate document and help me write. So if I click on generate document, and Google, of course, are going to give us some inspiration. So a party planning checklist for a surprise birthday party. I'm not sure how relevant that is on the business context. You can basically like shuffle around and see. Not very useful, right? I think Google's just trying to give us some inspiration here. So let me grab something a bit more business related. So I might do something like a customer proposal for an AI training workshop. And I think really think about this as whenever in a business context, whether you're a freelancer, a solopreneur, or even in you're working for a company, if let's say you're working in sales and the first time your manager asked you, hey, can you prepare a template for a customer handover when it moves from sales to onboarding, you have no idea what that document looks like. There's a way that now you can go directly into Google Docs and use Gemini to basically give you a good starting point. So here I've just given a very simple prompt saying a customer proposal for an AI training workshop. And let's see, it's going to take a little bit of time. And here we go. So we've already got something. It's getting a little bit fancy and giving us a nice image, but here we have AI training proposal. There's some workshop objectives, the different workshop modules. Then it's giving me a section to have a workshop schedule, some workshop deliverables, and investment. So already possibly a very, very good starting point. And what's great here is now, if I'm doing this for the first time, what's great is at least I have something that I compare to. I can maybe say, hey, for actually this intro, I think this is a little bit too short. And for a proposal, we probably want a little bit of a larger intro. And now I can continue using Gemini to basically help me work with this document. So I can even highlight a section here and click this little modify like button. So I can again choose to elaborate, shorten, rephrase, or even modify with a prompt. So again, if I say here, elaborate, let's see, Gemini is going to kick in with the context of the document and give me a new proposal. So here, this has probably gone a little bit AWOL, that it seems like it's not just elaborated on that one sentence, but elaborated on the whole document. So if I insert this, it's probably repeating some sections. So I'm actually going to lose this one and discard. So maybe let me try something a little bit different here. Oops. I'm going to say modify with a prompt saying go a bit more in depth with this intro, at least 4 lines. And let's see how that goes. Okay, so now it's got a little bit more depth. We can see here. Now, what very important is we can obviously refine this more with a prompt. If I just hit insert here, it's actually going to add it to the page. Again, this is a little weird UI bug, but since I've got something highlighted, I can actually click this little button and hit replace. And that is probably something that you'd rather want to do, because if I just hit insert, it's going to add both of those texts together. Whereas in most cases, what you probably want to do is hit replace, and then that new content is added. So really a good way to basically get away from this, let's say, blank page syndrome, and what you can use to get started. Now, another demo that I want to show you here is before I show you the demo, I just want to show you 2 documents that I already have. So what I have here is a customer handoff template, a document that I was mentioning before. And this is a template that maybe a company has set up saying whenever we sign a new customer and we move, this might be a customer handoff template for a SaaS company. We move from the deal closed, and now we need to move it to the account management team who are taking care of the onboarding. We want our salesperson to basically go and create one of these customer handoffs. And this is the template we have set up, which showcases every bit of information that we want to have inside this customer handoff template. Now, what I also have ready, maybe you have this, maybe you don't, but here I've just got basically a Google Doc filled with some conversation history. So some mock sales data, which are basically a combination of different transcripts that happened during the sales process, as well as different email back and forth that happened during the sales process. And then what I can do is if I open up a new Google Doc, so let me open up a new document. I'm now going to again hit generate document and type. And you'll notice here that it's saying I can use the @ symbol to include content from other files. So what I can try and do now is open up, and let me just get my prompt ready, saying fill out the following, and I'll call it customer handoff template. And here I'll @ and do customer handoff. And let's see, I've got a lot of these, so hopefully it picks the right one. I'm just going to pick the first one. Fill out the following customer handoff template based on the sales conversation history that you can find here. And now I'm going to tag my mock sales conversation cloud collaboration software. So I'm tagging these 2 documents, and then I can hit create. And what this is doing is basically like a templating format. So if you ever have like one Google Doc, which is a template of how you want your document to be structured, and then another document which contains the key information. So what this one has now done is basically filled out this template based on all of the data that was available in this history. So it basically identified that here, this is about a company called Pinnacle, and it's a sales company selling synergized solutions. And it basically went ahead and filled out the data for Pinnacle based on any data that was in that conversation history. So you can really think of different ways where you could apply this. Is maybe you're doing some user research or user testing, and you have one document with all of the feedback from your users, and then you have a template of how you want the report to be run. You could basically use that tagging symbol and have Gemini reference both of those 2 documents and come up with a new one directly in Google Docs. Perfect. Any questions on that one, or should we move on to Google Sheets? Have I found an easy way to format a document using AI? You mean like just basically highlighting everything and saying like make it beautiful, or in terms of giving it specific instructions?
I just it's okay if I speak.
Yeah.
Just added a document in there, changed some of the numbering and some of the stuff, and all I want to do is hit a button and it just reformats the entire document with headings and styles and stuff, and it's just it's painful.
Yeah, that's not something I'll try out. Maybe I'll give it a go after this one, because I'd say with ChatGPT, it should be pretty good at it. Like, and Gemini as well, as saying like, "Hey, identify where possible headings would be and add them as markup." I would say it should actually do a good job. But you can even see here, it's something that it hasn't nailed. For instance, is in my template here, I have actually like line dividers and line breaks, and even in the new document, it's actually going straight, going straight from the end of one to the header of another. So yeah, it's not something that it's actually mastering at the moment. All right, let's move on to Google Sheets, which I think is probably one of the ones that most people think there's a lot of value in having AI directly in Google Sheets. So again, I want to show you a couple of examples. First of all, it's very similar to what we just did in Google Docs, and that's like getting away from the blank page. If you ever need to set up a new Google Sheet, what I would definitely recommend, and you can see here, like Google are really trying to showcase what they can do, is using the help me create a table feature. So when I start, I could basically, rather than like, if I know that I need to create a certain new Google Sheet, I can actually have AI help me with this. And I'm going to give a very simple prompt here. Not so simple, but simple enough, saying a waitlist tracker. And so I think I even need to say, create a table for a waitlist tracker for customers who sign up to our new beta feature. It should have email, first name, last name, waitlisted date, as well as a status dropdown, which is either new, invited, or added to beta. So let me hit that one and let's see what happens. So you can see basically Gemini is showing you it here, but it's also directly adding it to the Google Doc. And then I can just verify and hit insert. Yeah. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is whenever you're using this, and let me actually just create a new document. So I'm just going to do a new document. And again, have Gemini help me create a table. And in this case, I'm just going to have create a table to monitor waitlist signups to a beta feature. And you can see now basically Google's made a recommendation. They've given some extra fields there. So you've got like company, feature, interest, and contacted. So the way I would think about this is what you'll notice is when I did the previous prompt, when I mentioned which fields it should include, basically Google only give you that. So whenever you say create a table with the following fields, it will create it with only those fields. It won't basically give you some extra inspiration. When you leave it vague and say, hey, create me a waitlist tracker, it's then going to the best of its ability, make a suggestion of what should be some important fields in a waitlist tracker. So really depending on your use case, if you want to actually have some help from AI and saying, hey, I don't know how this table should be formatted, then feel free to just give it the goal. If you're purely using it so you don't have to manually go and create all of those fields, and it's much quicker for you to just type them here, then you can basically give Gemini those exact instructions. Yeah. So that's obviously one way of adding new data in, but I think the most exciting use case for Gemini is obviously analyzing data. So here we have some data in a Google Sheet, which is actually the LinkedIn stats from Piv, Alex, and myself. We post quite heavily on LinkedIn, and here we've got some statistics. I actually need to remove this column. And what you'll notice here is already Gemini's jumping in and suggesting, hey, help me analyze my data. So let me click this one and see what happens. And so now basically Gemini is just starting to the best of its ability, and it's going to make some suggestions on what could be analyzed. So let's see what's happening. You notice here now it's actually clicked into a different mode saying writing code, and we'll touch on this a little bit later. And here it says the data appears to contain LinkedIn social media statistics for multiple users. Each row represents a day from January 2024 to December 2024. It's now going doing some stuff. It's really getting in depth on the analysis that it's doing. Let's have a look. Maybe this has improved a lot since 2.5 came out, and it's maybe using the new 2.5 Pro model. So it keeps promising that it's going to print some unique values. Let's see when it finally starts doing that. Looks like it might have even gotten to a crazy little loop here. Gemini always tends to surprise me. Okay, so now. Okay, so what's it done here? The data appears to track social media performance on LinkedIn. Here's a summary of the total average daily impressions, engagements, and new followers for each user. So basically, it's already given me some aggregate. So I could even open up a new tab and just click insert. And now here I have in one click my total. So all I did was ask it to analyze my data, and it's already decided what are the important things to analyze. So maybe thought, hey, this is daily. Is it important that we have this on an aggregated level? Let's see what else it's basically said. Additionally, here are the first 5 rows of total impression, engagements, and new followers across all users by day. Let me see what happens when I insert this one. So one thing that's a little bit disappointing here is it's actually given like fixed numbers rather than referencing the original data. So maybe not so useful. Let's try and do a little bit more. I'm going to go back to my first tab and here ask. So here I basically just said, hey, analyze it and let it do its analysis. Now I'm going to follow up and ask what additional calculated metrics would be useful to add for this data set. So let me hit that one. And it's taking some time to think. And just while it's doing that, I'll show it a little bit later, but then I can already touch on it while we're waiting for Gemini to come up with a response here. What I would recommend when working with Gemini in Google Sheets is rather than asking it to like do sums and things directly, ask it to create a formula that does what you're looking for. You're going to have much better results when you ask it to create a formula because it's going to then create a formula which you can easily insert. And let's see if we can do that here. So it said the previous analysis provided a good starting point, but here are some others. So this is already one: engagement rate, follower conversion rate. And what you'll notice here, and I haven't even prompted it to do this yet. I wanted to do this in another step, but it got a little bit excited. It also even is creating some charts that I could in one click insert. But let me first do one thing here, and I'll do my next prompt, and I'll say, can you please create a formula to calculate the engagement rate for each row? So now rather than asking it to calculate the engagement rate, I'm asking it to create a formula. And let's see what how it does with that one. And so for everyone, the engagement rate is simply how many people engaged with the post compared to how many people actually saw it, the impressions. So it should very easily come up with this one. But it also, I've been getting pretty good results from more advanced statistics and asking it as well, like what other types of metrics would be useful. Awesome. So now it's given me, can you please create a formula? It's basically done this. If I can now in one click basically insert this, and you'll notice that it's basically inserted for every single row. And what's great here is it's not any more hard-coded numbers, but rather the actual formula. And it's just gone ahead and done that. So I could even change this one to engagement rate now. And then finally, I could basically ask it to, let's try this one. Generate a chart using this data comparing the monthly total impressions of Jan, Piv, and Alex over time. All right, let's see. It is taking a little bit longer than usual. Because what it actually needs to do under the hood here, first of all, it actually needs to do that aggregation, add everything into a monthly level, and then eventually actually create the chart. So you can see here, first of all, it was writing some code. And now we have this beautiful chart that I can just in one click hit insert, We'll notice here that Alex went quite viral on LinkedIn around December and January. So we see a massive boost. These are actually real numbers. It's done a very, very good job here of creating the chart. Again, one like, let's say, I'm probably a little bit picky here. What would be amazing is if this was actually a Google Sheets chart that we could modify. This is directly an image that is created. What's great though is if you need to work and need to get something quickly for a presentation, in one click you can copy this image and save it to a presentation. But this is an image. It isn't actually a Google chart. But you can see here, surprisingly accurate. Again, what I would recommend is use Gemini in Sheets to create formulas for you, run the analysis. Where I've noticed it hasn't been so good, especially on like data manipulation. If, for instance, you want to say like, hey, make all these emails lowercase or convert all of these emails to like first and last name. If you try and get it to overwrite the data directly, it's not going to do a very good job. If you say, hey, create a formula in a new column to do the thing, it will give you much better results. Perfect. So that's it on Google Sheets. I need to speed up a little bit because we're running out of time. And I do want to get the last use case. So now onto Google Slides. So let me open up Google Slides. We've got a couple of useful demonstrations here. Again, opening up the Gemini side panel. Let me just refresh this one. Just to reiterate, whenever you have it open and you stay on the same tab, it will obviously keep that history, but as soon as you refresh or close the tab, that history will be gone. So we could obviously, again, use Gemini to create things for us. So let me, for instance, say here, a very quick one-shot prompt, create a slide about the upcoming trends in Q2 2025 on AI enablement for business teams. And hopefully this one goes a little bit faster. Awesome. And this now, it's basically put that directly in already with an image. These guys are very much, I guess, ready for 2025 with a big AI poster on the wall. Here it's got the top AI trends, increased AI adoption, hyperautomation, AI ethics, democratization. This is purely everything just been like made up by Gemini, right? So like no sources or anything, but if you need some quick dummy slides made up, could also be a very good use case. Next one on regards to maybe you're working on a slide and you're putting in a lot of information and you know that you've probably over-explained yourself. What you can always do again here in Google Slides, what I don't think is possible, let me try if they've changed it. No, so for whatever reason in Google Slides, you won't get any sort of like help me write, let's say little overlay. So I can't edit this text or prompt this text with AI directly. But what I can simply do is, let me just refresh to get rid of that test data. I could basically ask Gemini, can you rewrite this slide to be more concise and to the point without losing content and formatted as bullet points? So now if I hit it, even though I can't do it directly on the text for whatever reason, I can still leverage it here. And you can see this one was very, very quick. And I can simply hit insert. And I just need to basically remove the other text, if I can, and make this a little bit bigger. And we've had that basically that same long paragraph text easily converted into slide format. But probably for me, one of the best use cases in Google Slides, and it was probably one of the most impressive until ChatGPT did their little update last week, which was creating images directly in slides. This also works in Google Docs, but basically Gemini's image generation is very, very impressive. Maybe ChatGPT has just topped it now with its last update. But what I'm going to say here, if I have this slide that maybe I need to show in a presentation around the upcoming challenges, and I want to find a nice picture that matches. So I'm going to say, create an image, a photorealistic image of a man looking frustratingly at his MacBook screen. So I can hit this one. And what we'll have is basically now Gemini will go and give us some options. So actually, I think I need to, let me just refresh this one because I want to find the different setting. If I actually get it from insert image, what I want to click is help me create an image. So rather than prompting, I'm going to do help me create an image, and that gives you some extra, like let's say options. So here I want to say what is inside the image, and then I can also say what type of format. So I can choose, do I want this square? Do I want this wide if you need something covering the whole bottom? For my case, I want it on the right-hand side. So I want something that's tall, and we can also select different styles here. I'm going to select no style because I actually have it written in the description. So then I can hit create. As it says here, it probably takes around 20 seconds to generate a series of images. They're always going to give you 4 options, and then you can basically iterate and choose the best one. Awesome. So here I already have very good photorealistic images. And as I was saying, like, I think this is super, super impressive. We've come like so far from when basically AI was generating images with like 6, 7 different fingers to now I can basically click through this and find like what is the perfect picture for this slide. So I might go with this one. The guy looks a little bit concerned. I can just hit insert, and like then we have the picture ready to go for our slide. So generating images works in Google Slides, in Google Docs, in the Gemini app directly. So I would also, if you do have access and maybe don't have access to the paid ChatGPT, also their image generation is really, really at a high level. So that was it when it comes to Google Slides. Now, I know we've probably only got about 5 minutes left. That was it, sorry, for the whole Google Workspace. I want to quickly touch on the Gemini app and also Notebook LM, and I want to give you like one whole demonstration of a good workflow there. So first of all, if you're new to Gemini app, pretty much it's the same as any LLMs. Right now, it can get quite confusing to know which model to use. So in Gemini at the moment, there are 4 models that you should be thinking about. And actually, this is, as I mentioned, everything's changing so quickly. So actually, our first model here even got an upgrade this week. So the 2.0 Pro upgraded to 2.5 Pro. But just like a quick sentence on each of them. So the 2.5 Flash, that's probably going to be your like daily driver, let's say, for your daily tasks, like writing blog posts, emails, or reports. Then you have Flash Thinking, which is basically has advanced reasoning, so better tuned for solving logical problems. We have Deep Research, and this one's very impressive. I'm going to show a demo of this one in a second. What's really exciting about this is they obviously have, Google has all of the context of the internet, of YouTube, and its research model is very, very strong. And finally, you have 2.5 Pro, which we discussed at the start, which is very strong for both math and coding tasks. Now, when it comes to like Notebook LM, and Gemini app, I just want to reiterate here, both of them are actually using the same large language model, but even though it's the same models under the hood, they behave slightly differently. And that's because of the way that they've basically been fine-tuned. So Notebook LM has basically been fine-tuned to not hallucinate anywhere near as much, but therefore it's also very less creative. And you'll see why in a second, because Notebook LM involves you giving it sources, and it's only going to give you answers based on the sources you give it. So it's not creative at all, but it also doesn't tend to hallucinate. Whereas on the flip side, Gemini app can hallucinate quite a bit more because it's been fine-tuned for creativity. So let's look at a research workflow with Gemini. So I'm going to go and open up a new Gemini chat. And here I'm going to open the Deep Research. And let me just grab my notes. So the research that I want it to do is research how the emergence of AI agents will impact the way we, knowledge workers, and business professionals work. So this is my research. And what's really cool about this model, when I give it a task to research, what it's first going to do is actually going to tell me, hey, here's the plan. It's really like having a research assistant saying, this is what I want you to go and research. And then it's going to say, yeah, sure. This is the plan that I have in mind. So it's basically saying these are the 8 steps that it's going to do. I can read through those and say, yes, that looks good. Or otherwise I can say edit plan. And I can basically now prompt it to edit the plan and add something else. So I might say, also add a 9th point about researching who will be developing AI agents. Will it mostly be engineers, or rather business professionals will be able to create their own? So before it starts the research, I can basically manipulate the plan. And now it's basically taken that into consideration. I've also got that 9th point here, and I can say start research. Now, what's going to happen is this is going to take a long time to do a very, very large amount of research. It's going to crawl hundreds and hundreds of websites, YouTube videos. So just like a good cooking show, here's one that I prepared earlier. So I did this exact exercise. I think the research basically took about 20 to 25 minutes to be completed. What we can see here is this is the output of the research, even with like in-depth tables. And if we scroll right to the bottom, because this is what's happening right now in this other mode that's running, in a second, it will tell you step by step what it's actually doing. And as it starts reading websites, it's going to show you like right now it's researching all of these websites. It will then see, have I got enough information or do I need to do more research? So here it's got like it was able to find enough information to be able to define what an AI agent is. At this one, once this is all completed, what you'll see at the bottom is you'll see here's the report that was made, and then which sources were actually used in the report and which sources were read but were not used in the report. So where the research here is very, very interesting, that it actually takes in more information than it actually uses, and it has the ability to read something and say, I don't find this interesting and I'm not going to use it in my report. And you have the full list of all of that afterwards. So you'll see what was used and what wasn't used. And this is like hundreds of websites here. And you can go back and see each step by step what thinking was done. And then simply in one click, I can export this to Google Docs. And now, for instance, start like using this research, sharing it with colleagues, whatever. Yeah. Now where Notebook LM comes in, if I head over to Notebook LM, and so for any of you that are using this for the first time, I know it's confusing, like everything's Gemini, but it's like two totally different products. How this one is meant, and it's also included for free to Google business users, is you can basically add sources to a notebook. So one source that I might add, I can basically add Google Docs, Google Slides, YouTube videos, websites. So I might even just grab that Gemini research that was just done. So AI agents, and insert this. And now what happens is when I chat with my agent here, everything I ask it will only be, the answers will only be based off the research, the sources that are listed here. So for instance, another really good use case was as I was preparing for this Google Gemini workshop, what I could simply do is go and grab like, what are the top 5 YouTube videos or 6 YouTube videos on Google Gemini? And then I could simply ask it to plan a 60-minute workshop on the use of Google Gemini for professionals. And it's basically going to use the contents of these different YouTube videos to come up with what is the ideal 60-minute workshop here. And just you can see it's super, super fast because it's just using this context. So here it said a workshop agenda, what is Gemini, benefits of Gemini for professionals, the key models, and we can see even some practical use cases in Gemini workshop. You can like toggle on or off the different sources. What's very exciting about this research flow, so going back to the flow of I've had Gemini deep research, do a bunch of research on AI agents. I've now added it to a notebook. Because Gemini, it really is what is known as multimodal. They're really trying to go all in on understanding that people like taking in information in different ways. And what I can do is actually create a podcast based on that research. So here at the top right, you'll see audio overview, and there's a deep dive conversation. And I can just hit generate, and this typically takes a few minutes. So again, I actually did this earlier. And what you can do is based on that research, I've got now a 37-minute podcast on everything that was researched on AI agents that I could listen to on my morning run or my morning drive to work. So let's have a listen.
Tangible impact these systems are having.
Okay, let's do it. So what exactly are AI agents? We hear the term thrown around quite a bit.
Well, at their heart, AI agents are intelligent software systems. Think of a digital worker, basically.
A digital worker.
Okay. Yeah, one that can sense its environment, maybe the internet, internal databases, other digital feeds, and then make informed decisions based on what it perceives.
And then act on those decisions.
Exactly. Take action to achieve specific goals. The key thing is their ability.
So pretty crazy there. What they've even done as well is you can actually click on this interactive mode and even go and join the conversation and ask the hosts questions. So I think Google are really starting to play with this, understanding that people like information in different ways. And so that you could have basically a bunch of research get done using the deep research, add it to Notebook LM, create a podcast. I think it's also a very, very useful business context with how fast things are changing. You could have deep research running in a topic in the morning and then listen to the latest information. Another one I want to highlight, I won't like go through a demo, but Notebook LM is also really, really good for brainstorming or team collaboration, because that's one downside at the moment of even using Gemini or Gemini Gems is that you can't actually share them and collaborate on them. Whereas with notebooks, you can share and add any of your team members. What's also really great is, let's say you have a brainstorming session that you want to do. You can have everyone create their own Google Doc with their list of ideas, or you could even add them here live as notes and then add them all to the same notebook session and basically ask Notebook LM to come up with a summary of like, what are the points where we all agree on? What are the points where maybe we disagree on? And what should we actually discuss in this meeting? So very, very good for collaboration. So I think with
a quick question, Jan, can you quick question from JN? Can you include your voice in there? Is it possible to use your own voice?
In terms of like the way you would talk or your specific voice?
I think both.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I know that like the feature's getting better, but not sure yet.
Okay.
Then we had another topic on data security and privacy, and I think this is one where we're seeing a lot more. I think it always comes back to really depending on your company's policies. But what we're seeing with some of the companies that we're working with, they are much happier for their team to use Gemini in the Google Suite if they are already using the Google Workspace. Typically, then Google Workspace has already been approved by their privacy team. I don't know, Piv, if you have any more thoughts on this, but the fact that's also a reason why Google have made this decision is all of your data lives within your Google Suite. So it is already like Google has access to that information. And now they're just thinking that, okay, if we can add the AI element without your data being pushed anywhere else, we think they are making the bet that a lot of companies will prefer this method.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the, that's one of the big moats that Google has, and it's also one of the questions whether AWS is going to come up with something. I mean, we've seen that they've released their Nova Pro model, and I think that's the challenges that this company have is the sheer volume and scale at which they're operating, and the minute they open a feature, even if it's a bit hidden, but they directly get a massive influx of millions of users, which obviously requires them to have different kind of infrastructures. At the same time, they're already there. They're already whitelisted. They don't have to go through procurement. In most cases, they make it accessible from the customer for free. So that's one of their key use cases. And in terms of when it comes to safety, I would say these products are basically handled with the same level of data security and safety as the other Google Cloud product and the other application from the Google Suite. So they are already, like, the data is hosted in the same place. They are running the models on the same servers. So that could also be that. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies will go there, because it's available and it's also there.
Yeah, awesome. And Mike also added a very useful link from Google. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks. All right, well, that was pretty much it. I just want to leave with one more slide and just give a quick overview. So I think in terms of the directions where both of these are going, Gemini right now is really going strongly at multimodal tasks. So you can see with Notebook LM that you can add YouTube videos, you can add images, you can add text, and basically their models have one of its big advantages. It has a very, very big context window. So what I haven't shown here, because for me, I haven't found too many use cases of it, but you could literally add a PDF or a Google Doc of the world's biggest book, longest book, millions and millions of pages, add it into a Gemini gem or a notebook and ask it to find a very exact passage, and it will be able to do that and say it's on page 367,000. Like, its context window is just massive. So Gemini really strong at multimodal tasks and also tasks that involve a large amount of data. However, right now, and hopefully this is an area where they improve, there's very limited customizability and personalization. So the fact that the Gemini gems can't be shared yet, I've apparently that they are coming soon, but I think Google really needs to get a lot stronger of being able to, that people can adjust for their own tone of voice. And for instance, do things like, I want to tell Gemini once how I want LinkedIn posts to be written. And then every time I write a LinkedIn post, or I want to write a LinkedIn post in a Google Doc, it should just have that memory of, hey, this is the way Jan likes writing his LinkedIn posts. This is something where ChatGPT is very, very strong, and what they're going for is with the different features they're adding, like ChatGPT memory and projects, that you can basically really give specific instructions and tailor the experience quite a lot. However, obviously, it's not so connected to the different tools you're using every day. So for us, obviously, like, we're blessed that we can use both. So we're still choosing the different models and also Claude quite a lot, depending on the use case. But I think if you are one where you don't have access to ChatGPT for work and you can only use Gemini, it is improving a lot. And I would definitely recommend playing it out, especially when within the Google Workspace. But where you will find difficulty compared to ChatGPT is that level of personalization. So with that, thanks so much. If I'm happy to stay on a few more minutes if there's some more questions. And otherwise, yeah, wishing everyone a great day.